Hi YouTube, how you all going? Welcome to another video where we're going to continue on with the development of our Node.js backend. Yeah, good. I guess a good moment just to pause and say thanks for everyone who has actually watched some of the videos. I didn't expect there to be too many views for this kind of project because I'm not really putting in a huge amount of focus on the YouTube titles and whatnot, but I do see that some people are watching it. So comment down below if you are watching. Be keen to kind of know what you think of the project and if there's anything yeah, that you think I should particularly focus on. So where we left off previously was we implemented our CI pipeline and we've done the email verification. Looking at the code, we do have this service which deletes a user if they don't verify their account within 7 days, and we are calling that service which deletes the unverified account. So I hadn't ticked this before, but I'm going to tick that off. And then for today's video, I think we're going to focus on some of this other email-based functionality around forgetting passwords and multi-factor authentication. So what we might do is jump over Claude and finish doing this. So this is the updated stuff. We never told Claude that it works. So we will say thanks for this. All of the code now works. I now want to implement forgot password functionality. The user will click the forgot password link on the UI. So we will need an API endpoint for this. This API endpoint will trigger an email that allows hang on, the user will click on the forgot password and enter their email address to receive a link that allows them to expect it. So we'll say we are, of course, just working on the backend for this. Before you write any code, please let me know of any considerations, ideas we might want to consider for this functionality. Yep. Okay, what we're going to do, okay, we're just going to copy this for a second. We're just going to tell Claude what functionality we actually do want to implement out of this. So just put this in a Google Doc. Okay, so yep, that makes sense. Let's say of 1 hour. Verify. Yep. Let's use what was it called? I've forgotten the email service we've been using. What's it called? Email service. Let's use serial mail. Mail for the purposes of building this app. Yep. Let's not worry about that. We won't test right now. If you've watched my other video on testing, you'll know that it takes a huge amount of time to get that working. Yeah, let's have that. Yep, let's do that. Won't worry about this for now. Okay, cool. So based on your feedback. Let's now implement the functionality with the following. And then I'll just say, please remember our existing functionality and app structure. We want the code to be very robust, scalable, and modular, fitting with our existing as I've written this, I was just kind of thinking, like, if you've not watched any of the other project videos, I'm kind of just diving straight in. So maybe in future, I'll provide a little bit of a recap just for 1 or 2 minutes before I start writing new functionality. That way, if you're fresh watching this video and you've got no context whatsoever, you'll at least understand where we're at. So here's what we're getting created by Claude so far. So we're getting a password reset service, our password reset controller, our password reset routes. That all makes sense. Updating our email service, updating our user model, probably for a reset password token. Makes sense, given we're also updating the token model. And then we're going to implement some middleware for rate limiting. We do need to be conscious that we do have some rate limiting code just directly in our server. So we might need to keep an eye on that. So let's see what it's done. So obviously it's given us the files, which we'll look at in a minute. This process uses secure one-time tokens, time-limited tokens for our password reset. Implements rate limiting to prevent abuse. Verifies the user email exists. Yep. Uses ethereal mail for testing, which is great. Implements a two-step process. Logs all password reset attempts. Implements our error handling. Notifies the user via email when their password has changed. So we could say something like, hey, if this wasn't you, let us know. Integrates well with our existing authentication system. Maintains an audit trail, which is great. So let's make sure we ensure all of the packages are installed. We've got to update our .env file to include our front-end URL. We might already have that, but let's just double check. Test thoroughly, blah, blah, and consider adding more detailed logging and monitoring as needed. So we will jump straight in, go to our password reset service. So this is going to be in our services folder. If you've watched my earlier videos, you'll know that my preference is to have like a folder structure where we have like email verification or registration. AI keeps just putting things in a generic services folder. So we'll keep doing that, and then I'll do a little bit of code tidy up a little bit later on, just for the purposes of keeping things moving. So if we look at this code, we've got our service or code function to generate the reset token. So we find our user. If there's no user, password reset requested for non-existent user, that's just logging that, but it returns nothing, so we don't actually reveal if the email exists. If it does, we're generating a token using bcrypt, which is similar to what we do when we're hashing the password. So we're not generating the token with bcrypt, we're generating the token with crypto.random bytes to create a string, and then we take that token and we hash the token up. Yeah, sorry, I kind of misspoke there. And then we save that token by making sure, first of all, if there is already a reset token, we replace it. And then we send this is the service to send our reset email. So we've got our URL, then we've got, click the link and I'll follow that, and the URL, there it is, sorry, has our reset token defined in it. And then we'll have a service to verify the reset token. So we find our user, so we're actually looking on our token model, not the user model. So we're looking on our token model for a user that has our user ID. And then we're specifically looking at the token with the password reset. We've got our error logging, and then in this piece of code we're verifying the reset token is correct. If it is correct, then we're allowing the user to create a new password. So user.password equals new password. And we're assuming the password hashing is handled in the user model pre-save hook, which is correct. And then we save the user, and then we delete the token, the reset token, and then we send a confirmation email to say, hey, good work. So that all makes sense to me. We've then got our controllers, so I won't run through all of these in detail. But we've got one for our reset request, and then we've got one to actually reset the password. We've got our routes, so the one that we need for the front end. So the user clicks, hey, I forgot my password, enters their email. They then receive that email, and then this is the reset password link that will be in the email appended with their token. And then here's our rate limiting function. So I've never written rate limiting code before, but we're using an npm package. We will ask Claude about this because we have some in our app.js file. And our user model, So we're saving the password reset history here in terms of when it was requested, when it was completed, and we're also logging the IP address, which is pretty good. And we've got to update app.js to include the new routes. That is technically incorrect because we've got a separate routes file where we'll do it. So let's go over here. I will keep it on the code, VS Code for you guys and girls, and we'll go to our services file and we'll go password reset service. And we're just gonna do what we usually do, copy and paste this code. We've kind of had a brief look at it, so nothing glaringly obvious jumped out at me. But you know, as with everything, there could be some errors, which we will figure out as we move along. So we've got our services, we've got, we don't currently have a separate controllers. Nope. Oh my god, this always bugs me out how it... we previously had a controls file, but as I mentioned before, I kind of like to keep things in specific files named based on their functionality, so I did delete it, but we'll add it back in just to get this code working. Alright, that's our reset controller. Then we've got our routes, so we do have a central routes file, so we'll call this password reset routes.js. Save that, and then in our routes we're going to import these routes. So that is yeah. So just const password reset routes equals require. It's in our same folder, so we do that. So we save that, and then this is where we had this code that it was saying to put in app.js, but we're not going to put it in app.js. We're going to put it here. So we're going to paste, sorry, it's not going to be app.use, it's going to be a router.use. And we don't need to have this part of the API string. And then that should be correct. While we're here, I'm just going to move these import up because we're kind of in the wrong spot. All right, now we have to update our user model. So we are going to models, user model, and we've got our reminders, and then we are going to add our password reset history, and then we've also got a couple of methods that we're adding. So we've got our streamline, and we're going to add these two. So let's put these two here. I missed these before when we were looking at the code. So this one is basically adding the password reset record. So every time the password is changed, we log the date and we log the IP address. And then this is complete password reset record. Okay, so this is making sure that if there's more than one reset request, we're keeping the entire history. So it's appending, it's pushing onto an array the requested date and IP. So, you know, if today's date's the 20th of October, and it's from, you know, a certain IP address, and then tomorrow it's the 21st, and someone does it again, instead of overriding the original history, we're just appending it to our array. So we've always got those details. Alrighty, so with that, if we go over to our server, it's still running in the background, so this all should work. So what we need to do is we need to test this. So if we go to our password reset controller, we can say request password reset, and we need to pass in, what do we do? Reset password, and password, generate token, yeah, cool. Alright, so we just need to pass in, oh there it is, I was going blind, just our email. So this is, I'll move Postman over here and then I'll show you it all. And you can also see, sorry, if you go to our routes, it's a post request. So we're going to do a post request, and I've got been using the same test users the whole time. So do post body seconds and I'll be back with everybody. And my memory is, I forgot password. All right, here's Postman. So we've done a new post request. We've got our core part of our API endpoint, and then we append the forgot password. It's asking for our email. Test24 won't work because if you remember, that was the user we were testing the verification email on, and if the user didn't exist, they were going to be deleted. Now I'm just going to go back to 20 just to be on the safe side, because there were a few users we were testing with the functionality while it wasn't quite working for that verification, and it was like out in terms of timing, I think. So maybe they could have been deleted between when I finished that video and this video. So we're going to hit send on this and hope for the best. Okay, error not found. So API v1 forgot password 404. So the route's not found. So why have I've probably buggered something up with my routes. Password reset routes, password reset routes. API /v1, yep. Okay. Let's forgot password. Same thing, forgot password. This is going to be a simplistic error. I've just I thought it might have been, I might have had it as an authenticated route by accident, but I don't. So we go next. Password reset routes. Ah, there it is. I've got auth. That's my mistake. So essentially auth. So send. No, not found. Okay. Use. Just to be safe, I'm just get rid of the rate limiter. Send and okay. Put that back in for a second. Router.post. Alrighty, let's just double check this. So API /v1 /auth /forgot password. Password reset routes. We've got request password reset rate limiter. Router.express.router. Got our forgot password. We got our reset password. Index.js. I'm just going to tell Claude I have a separate routes file here. Not because I expect it to necessarily fix anything there. I just Claude saying, you know, I had the app.js file and I know it's not in the app.js file, so I just want to make sure it's reminder of the functionality that we've already built. See, now it thinks that was the reason for the error, but obviously I don't think it is because we've already checked that. But just for the sake of argument, let's just save that. Let's just make sure I didn't have a spelling mistake or something. Okay. So Claude is saying to add more debugging, which I'm trying to avoid because this should be a fairly simplistic error to fix. Oh, here we go. This is interesting. Okay, so I restarted the server. Controllers, password reset controller. That's not going to be reset routes. Oh, that's because I cut and pasted. Controllers, password. Spelling mistake on my part. Controllers, not controller. And then middleware. We forgot to install the npm. What's the package called? It had the step to remind us, and I forgot to do it. What was it called? npm. Alrighty. Cannot find module middleware / rate limiter. Did we missed that? We'll come back to asking. So rate Node.js. Not a good way to start the day. Sorry, everyone. Well, it's not the day. It's quite late at night here on a Sunday. Alrighty. So that's all running again. Let's just hit that. Maybe that was the issue. Moving too fast. Okay, true. If a matching account was found, an email was sent to reset your password. Fantastic. The problem is we don't have access to this email. So what we need to do is, okay, I have everything working now. We need to generate and send back a preview URL mode so I can change the email. So I can see the requests, see the okay, cool. So this is going to be in here. No, actually, sorry, in our service. Where's our service? Service. Password reset service. Okay, so in our service, what we want to do is functionality, send this reset and just return our reset URL. Send reset email. Hang on. Password reset service, password reset service. Send reset email. Send reset email. Okay. It's changed quite a bit of the code. I thought it was just adding one thing. And then in our controller, we just also need to adjust for that. So in our controller, request password reset. We've got our success true. So we're just going to replace this response. Do that. Okay, that works. Now, send that. Internal server error. Email info is not defined. Where's password reset? It rewrote this piece of code, changed it slightly. Send. Fantastic. Here's our reset. Now, obviously, there's nothing that's going to display here, but this is the token that we need. So, what we can do is go to Postman, and we now need to do a post request to reset password. So we'll just duplicate this, and instead of forgot password, this will be reset password, and in the body we need to pass in our user ID, the token, and the new password. So ID, token, and then password. And this can be new password, $123, %. And we just need our user ID. So this was, oh God, we don't have the user ID. So what we're gonna have to do is we're just gonna have to go to our MongoDB database for a second, cancel. And just while we're doing that, since it's passed in as user ID. So, D. Alrighty. Just trying to access MongoDB. I'll just take it over here so I can log in for a second. Here's the next video that we've been uploading. All right, bring this back over here. So I'll browse collections. We've got our users, and we did it on user with the email test20. So it should be here, and we need our user ID, which is this one. All right, and send that. New password must be at least 8 characters long. That is more than 8 characters long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Send. Okay, so something's going wrong. So we'll say I try and password now, but it says the password must be 8 characters long. The new password 8 characters long, so there must be a bug. Alrighty, so password reset controller. Alright, so in the controller, if new password under sorry, validation error, nothing changed, just some more logging, and then in the service, reset password, verify user and token, find the user by ID, user.password equals new password. Oh, this is meant to be new password. Maybe that's a mistake. Okay, so it's successfully reset. That's fantastic. So while I was writing that code, there were a couple of things that I noticed. One was the rate limiter. The other one was that we were passing in the token directly in the body. So I just want to ask if that's best practice. I noticed in this code we pass token back in the body of the post request. Is this best practice? Didn't think so. So yeah, it's better to send it as a query parameter in the reset URL. Alright, thank you. Before I implement this code, can you please also adjust it to allow for the new password to be confirmed before this, i.e. the user will enter their password and then confirm the password on the front end UI before we call the API endpoint. So off the rec.body we will get a new password and a new password confirm. Alright, so that were just two things that I noticed. So we've got to update our controller again. So reset password. And you notice here that it's getting the password and the new password, whereas it's getting the user ID and the token off the rec.query. So we're not actually going to pass in the user ID in the body anymore. It'll use the token to look up who the user is, I believe. So let's just double check that. So that's our controller in the service. So yeah, we get our user ID. So this is our service. So from our controller, reset password. Yeah, we're passing our user ID token and new password. So we're doing the confirmation of the password here in the controller. And then here we get, this verify reset token based on the user ID and the token. And then user, find our user by ID. If no user, throw the error. New password, save it, delete token. Okay, that's fantastic. So we'll copy and paste that. Save that, and then in our routes, what's changed in our routes? So reset routes doesn't need to change. Okay. So this is the query parameter that we need to pass in. All right, so if we go to our here, we need reset password question mark this user ID, and then password reset password token equals token. I'll come back to that in a second. And user ID equals, and that's our user ID. So what we're going to do is we're going to do another post request for that same user to forget their password. So send that. We are then going to get the token. So that's now not the token. Just wondering how we test this. No, sorry, that was the email URL. The token's here on the URL string. I got mixed up with that yesterday as well. And then we're going to go token, and then the new password, and so we've got new password, and we need to change that probably, and then new password confirm. Don't need the comma. Send that. Internal server error. Okay, this dot verify reset token. Okay, so you can see the error. This dot verify reset token is not function. So in our controller, verify reset token is not pulled in. That might just be an import issue. Controller. Okay, so I don't think it wrote that code, unless I'm mistaken. So we will just tell it. We now get this error. Yeah, so I hadn't written the code. Unless I missed it. So pull this over here, going into our password reset service. Above reset password, we're going to put in the new functionality, verify reset token, and then within reset password, instead of calling await this.verify reset token, we're just going to call await verify reset token itself, passing in the user ID and the token. User, find user by ID, if no user, throw the error, user.user password, yep, token.delete, logger.info, and save that. Okay, fantastic. And in the controller, what changed in the controller? Okay, request, password, email, results, reset password, are we in? Okay, yep, so try. No, I didn't mean to explain. Okay, yep. We just paste on that. Great, thanks. Okay, validation error, reset password, password success. Okay, cool, save. Send. Password's been successfully reset. All right, fantastic. So let's quickly jump back to our points to consider. We've done the forgot reset password functionality. And we've tested it and everything works. All right, well, what we're going to do is we are going to wrap the we're going to wrap the video here for that piece of functionality. And I will hit start again on a new one very shortly, and we'll keep going. But before we do that, we are going to commit our code. I know we're still not doing any testing. We'll get to that. So git add, git commit -m, added password reset functionality. Still won't commit the code up to GitHub yet. We'll just keep that on the local machine. And yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.